Hi, my name is Carla and I'm from year 16 and today I'm going to demonstrate how to make Spam Musubi. And Spam Musubi is a snack from Hawaii and I learned about it because I am in a taiko performance group and every summer we have a festival. It's called Obon, and Obon is a time when we think about our ancestors. We usually have a candlelit ceremony for them, and we also celebrate them. And we do that by dancing and playing taiko or these big drums. And then we also make a lot of really good food. And I live outside of Washington, D.C., and my taiko group, we host the only Obon in the Washington, D.C. area. So that's what we do. And one of the snacks that's super popular is Spam Musubi. And that's because a lot of the people who are a member of our temple are from Hawaii. And this is a Hawaiian snack. So we'll start with Spam. And this is a 12-ounce can of Spam. And what we're going to do, I'm just going to tip this forward. So you can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to open up the Spam. Now, why do people in Hawaii eat Spam? That's related to the fact that Hawaii was colonized by the United States, and a lot of soldiers and other people brought Spam with them when they colonized Hawaii, and the Hawaiian people took on that Spam, and of course they made it taste much better than anything we've ever had before. Okay, so this is the hard part, is getting it out. Okay, I'm trying to do it in this bowl so I don't hurt something. Come on out, Spam. This is actually the hardest part of making Spam Musubi. Whoop, get the air in there. Oh, it's coming. There we go. Now, this can is actually used to make Spam Musubi if you want to do that. I have an actual Spam Musubi mold that I'm going to use because we make a lot of Spam for our one, but if you only made it infrequently, you can use the can. Later on, I'll explain that, but put that aside for now. But you don't throw that out. Okay, then you take your Spam, and you're going to cut it into 8 slices. And I start by cutting it in half. Oh, and you want to cut it not this way. Like, you want to cut it so that it has this shape. In half. Boop. And then in half again. In half again. And then 8 slices total. Now, Spam Musubi is really filling snack. Like, you eat one and you're like, whoa, I'm so full. So I wouldn't say it's a meal, but it's kind of as filling as a meal might be. Okay, so we have our Spam. So I'm actually gonna, I have to fry the Spam now, but first, before I fry the Spam, I'm going to make a sauce. So I'm gonna carry my computer over to the stove so you can see me making that sauce. Let's just measure the ingredients for the sauce. You just need a little pot like this, and you need a 1/4 cup measure, and you're going to put a 1/4 cup of soy sauce. Okay, and a 1/4 cup of mirin. Mirin, which is like a cooking wine. Come on, man, you can do it. Cool. And you need a 1/4 cup of sugar. The point of the sugar is this is going to caramelize on the Spam and make that, it's a nice contrast to the saltiness of the Spam. There's a 1/4 cup of sugar. Yes, this is not a healthy, it's not a healthy choice. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over to my stove. Up high. So you can see my stove top. On the little burner, I'm going to just cook this down until the sugar dissolves. This is not going to take very long. Like, it's just to make it a syrup, basically. You're basically making like a syrup. And while that's heating up, I'm going to put a little bit of oil in my pan here, in my frying pan, just to get my Spam cooking. So let's do dual. Cool. This is going to get heated up. And in this pot, I've already cooked 2 cups of sushi rice. And you can see I've taken the lid off because I'm actually letting it cool off a little bit because I don't want to burn my fingers later. So let it cool off. You don't want it to be cold. We don't want the rice to be cold because then it gets kind of hard and nasty. But we do want it to be fresh. So usually I'm going to make Spam musubi only the day we're going to eat it. We're not going to, it doesn't keep well in the fridge. Okay, so I'm just going to, oh, that's not hot enough yet. So let the Spam pan heat up. And the sauce is heating up. And the sugar is almost dissolved. So it's cool. Put this down just a little bit so you can see. Okay, cool. Yeah, and then this is sushi rice. Most people have a rice cooker. I just use my pot. This is the type of sushi rice that we like. So I don't know what you like, but it's good. Okay, so sugar is still dissolving a little bit. And I can see the oil is heating up here. So we're going to get our Spam in there. Now, Muge asked me if there was an alternative to Spam, because obviously it's pork-based food, and that's not good for some people. And I did see that there is a version where you use tofu slices. And the nice thing about tofu is you could totally trim it to this shape. And I think I would like to try that. I haven't tried it yet. Just that would be tofu musubi instead of Spam musubi, but I actually really want to try that. And I think also, I don't know if that would be like a traditional snack then. That would be us making something up, which is cool. But this is like what we make on Obon. And it's very popular. The other Hawaiian foods that we make for Obon, we make shave ice, which is you take a block of ice and you put it in this thing that you turn a crank and then it comes out and it looks like snow. And then you put that in a little cup and then you put like syrup on it. Also not healthy, but yummy, especially when it's really hot. It's usually very hot at Obon. We usually do it the second weekend of July. And then the other thing that is really popular is butter mochi, which is a dessert. One of my favorite desserts. Okay, so what's happening with the Spam right now is it's getting a little bit a little bit of color to it, which is great. Oh, and I'm going to turn off the heat on our sauce because it is boiling. We don't need that to happen actually. We'll just let it cool off here. So the sugar is all dissolved. Take that off the heat just let the Spam get, we want it to get a little bit brown. And it smells great. Okay, so just getting a little crispy. Okay, cool. I'm just making a little crispy sounds. Hey, Kathy! I think you're the first one here. I just went ahead because it was time, so I'm recording this so everyone can make it later. So here's what I've done so far, just so you can go back and watch it later, but I made a sauce, and the sauce had 3 ingredients, which were a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of mirin, and a 1/4 cup of sugar. And I just cooked it until the sugar dissolved and it made like this caramelized type of sauce. And then the other thing I demonstrated was how to cut up the Spam into very thin slices. You get 8 slices from a can of Spam. And now I'm just frying the Spam on both sides, and I just want it to get a little bit brown. And it doesn't take long at all because the slices are very thin. Yeah, I see you have your mask on, so I don't know if you can talk, but have you ever cooked with Spam before? No, you can't talk today, it looks like. Okay, that's fine. Woo. And it's making a little bit of smoke because it's pretty fatty stuff. It's getting nice and brown. I don't know, you probably can't see on the camera that well, but I mean, Spam is basically like cooking bologna. Maybe that's why I like it, because I am from Newfoundland originally, and we cook with bologna in Newfoundland. So it has a familiar smell and consistency for me, I think, even though I'm not from Hawaii. Okay, so it's almost at the point where I'm gonna put the sauce in, and then what the sauce is gonna do is it's gonna caramelize on the Spam. And what's nice about that is that the sauce is basically sugar. And then it is a contrast to the saltiness of the Spam. This is super salty because it's preserved meat. This Spam, I mean, you can have Spam in your cupboard for like a year, a really long time. And it was designed, you know, to be used by the military. So, okay, so I'm gonna go ahead. Actually, I'm gonna turn down the heat first. Whoop. It looks nice, and it has some nice color to it. Yeah. And I'm just gonna turn down the heat a little bit, and then we'll add the sauce. Ooh, a little bit. I'm afraid it's gonna splatter. Nope. Okay, it's okay. Okay. So now we're just gonna let that cook down until it is like kind of caramelized and really sticking to the Spam. Which again, doesn't take very long because, you know, sugar, it cooks really fast. So I've turned down the heat, and we'll just let it. Whoop. See if I can hold it up a little bit. It's Spam with like a brown sauce, so not that fancy. So I said this at the beginning, but this is a Hawaiian snack. We make it, even though I'm not Hawaiian, I am a member of a taiko performance group, or a Japanese drumming group. And every July, we do a summer festival called Obon. And there are Obon in many, many places all over the world. It's a celebration of our ancestors. And one of the things that we do in that festival is we make a lot of food. And we make a lot of Hawaiian food. Okay, now I'm going to actually start flipping it over because it's caramelizing. We make a lot of Hawaiian food because here in the Washington, D.C. area, we are the only obon that there is each summer. And so we get a lot of the Hawaiian population. And we have a Hawaiian band that plays, and we have ladies who do Hawaiian hula dancing. So yeah, we offer a lot of Hawaiian food. Also Japanese food, but Spam musubi is definitely popular. So at this point, it's it's getting really thick. The sauce is basically goo. And it's really sticking to the Spam. I'm going to turn off the heat, and we're just going to let that cool off for a little bit. So take it off the heat. That is done. Gooey Spam. Yum. Okay, I'm going to move my computer back over to the kitchen tables where I'm going to be working on putting the Spam musubi together. Okay. So here's my sushi rice. I can totally, yeah, it's not too hot for me to touch anymore. So that's really cool. Just give it a little stir. So it is quite sticky, you know, as sushi rice is. So I'm gonna have a little bowl of water here to help my fingers not turn into a gooey mess. And some people will stir into the rice toasted sesame seeds or furikake. I like to put a little bit of rice vinegar. It just makes it a little bit less sticky. Cool. And this was 2 cups of uncooked rice, and now it's like 5 cups of cooked rice. Okay, cool. That looks good. I'm just going to move this out of the way. Okay, so now how can I set this up so you can see? So I have sushi nori seaweed sheets, and this is yummy. So I'm going to grab a sheet. Ooh. Try not to break it, getting it out. Come on out. Very delicate. There we go. Okay, so 1 sheet of nori will make 2 Spam musubi. So I'm just gonna fold it in half. There we go. Break it into 2 pieces.
Hi, Carla.
Okay. And I'm gonna get, I'm just gonna get this cutting board so that I know what you can see. Let's see if you can see that. Okay, cool. Now this, what I'm using here, this is a Spam musubi mold. This is a commercial product, and what's really cool about this, hi Eddie!
Hi, Carla. How are you?
I can't hear you. Let me see.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. Cool, cool.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna apologize because I need to get off. My daughter, come say hi, was very interested, but it's almost midnight and it's a school
Oh
night.
no! Well, you'll be able to
So
watch the recording later. So
I was gonna say, oh, you're recording, so that's great. All
yeah,
right, so
yeah.
we'll watch the
Recording this
recording
so you
later.
can watch it at a more reasonable hour.
Excellent, excellent. All right, good night.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye, Con. All right.
Yes. So to make the Spam musubi, some people just take the can, the actual Spam can, and they line it with plastic wrap. And that works great, but I don't have plastic wrap and I have this. So now this, you can see this mold is basically twice as wide as the Spam can. That's because I'm gonna make 2 at one time. And that's because usually for the festival, I'm making like a lot. So anyway, let's get our nori slices. Let me see if I can rip it without using scissors. Yes, okay. So what I'm going to do is nori has a shiny side and a not shiny side. So I'm going to lay it down shiny side up, like that. And I'm going to put my mold on top of it like that. So if you were just using a Spam can, you wouldn't worry about the nori until the end. So, but this is what I'm going to do. So now what I need to do is I'm basically going to make like a layer of rice, a layer of Spam, and a layer of rice. And then I'm going to squish it down. And then I'm going to take the mold off and wrap it up in the nori. So, step 1, layer of rice. Okay, this is going to get messy. So I'm just going to try to lay the rice in there. Whoop. And it's already totally sticking to me. Okay, there we go. So we get a layer of rice. Boop, boop, boop. And yes, I did not put enough vinegar, so it is sticking to me. So we'll just push it. I'm just going to dip my fingers in the rice, in the water, so it doesn't stick. Like that. Boop, 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 boop. And I'm just trying to get it to lay down in the mold in about like 3/4 of an inch thick, maybe. Yeah. Okay, now I'm gonna go get my Spam. Okay, we'll get a couple of slices of Spam. Ooh. Okay, slice number 1. It's gonna go in and just lays in there. Boop. And you can see it's like the perfect size for a Spam. Slice number 2. There we go. Okay. So, if I turn it this way, you can see better maybe. I've got the nori is laying down underneath. Then there's the mold. I've put the rice and then the Spam. Now I'm going to put another layer of rice. Not as thick as the first layer. Okay, cool. Boop, 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 boop. This one's like maybe only 1/2 an inch. The first one was like 3/4 of an inch. Okay, cool. Now we've got all the rice in there. I might throw a little bit of sesame seeds. Okay. Now I'm gonna take this little squishy thing and I'm gonna squish it down. Squish. Ugh. So if you did it in the Spam can, the way you would do is you would take the plastic wrap and you would wrap it around the rice and then you would push down. But what's great about this product is it presses it down nice and evenly. And so it's making it about 1/2 as thick as it was before I pressed it down. So that made a nice, very compact rice section. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push this all the way through. Take the mold off. Boop, like that. Take this little doo-doo off without breaking everything. Cool. And then I'm going to cut it in half because this is 2 Spam musubi, which isn't hard to cut at all because remember the Spam were not actually attached to each other. I'm just cutting through rice. And then I'm going to put a little bit of water to make the nori stick. Boop, 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 boop. And Spam musubi! We're almost done. Isn't that cool? It's like, oh, this one's not centered. So let's scoochie it over a little bit. No, it's not moving. Okay, we'll just deal. I love watching the older people make Spam musubi at the Obon because, you know, I'm so awkward and they're just like so good at it. And they make it so fast. Okay, so that is Spam musubi. It is rice, sushi rice with a layer of Spam wrapped in nori. And then you just eat it like a sandwich, which I'm now going to do. Okay. Ugh. Okay, this is the eating moment. Ah, I don't want to lose my computer. Okay. So here's the part where I feel so happy. Okay. Oh my gosh. Oh, wow. Every time I eat this, I'm like amazed it exists. It's just such a great combination of salty and sweet. And then the sushi rice has this nice, like, kind of like chewy, almost like mochi texture, like yum, yum, yum. And then the nori. So the sauce was made out of 3 ingredients. It was just made out of a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, a 1/4 cup of mirin, and a 1/4 cup of white sugar cooked down on the stove to a syrup. So really easy. These are ingredients everybody has. I think you could even leave out the mirin and just do soy sauce, but I think the mirin adds a nice something. Yeah, so there's not many ingredients, right? It's just the sushi rice, the Spam, and then the sauce, which is mirin, soy sauce, and sugar, and the nori. So it's really like it's not like you have to go buy 100 ingredients to make this. It's easy to find these ingredients. I mean, nori sheets are pretty. You can get them at most grocery stores now. What it used to be hard, but now it's easy. Yeah. So that's it. That's how you make spam musubi. Yay! So the 2 cups of rice and 1 can of spam, it's gonna make 8 of these. And what I said is that it's very filling, like super filling. Like I'm gonna eat one and then I'm gonna be like, whoa. So 8 is actually a lot. Like, so I have 4 people in my family. And that means we get 2 each, and that's more than enough. for yeah, that's why when we make it at the for our obon and we sell it, you know, that's a good deal. Like you get very full eating that. So, and yet it's not heavy. It doesn't make you feel like it doesn't make you feel bloated. It's just filling. I don't know how to explain that. Yeah, so I think that's it. Unless you have any follow-up questions or yeah. At some point I'm gonna try the tofu idea that Muge and I were talking about on Facebook, and I'll let you know how that goes. I think it would be great. I think it would work perfectly well. It just wasn't something we did for our long before. So. But we should, because we should be, a lot of people don't eat pork, and so we should do that and give it a try. Yeah. Well, thank you for coming, and I'm going to share this recording so other people can make it. So thank you. I'm gonna stop recording. Whoop.